interest about. So before we start, just a little bit intro to Hkmsa. We're trying to provide a platform for professional development and social network of a whole year around events, including upskilling workshop, tutorial, career-related seminar, and also a networking opportunity for our member, which includes medical students in Australia or anyone who want to come to Australia for study from Hong Kong with Hong Kong background as well. We got 4 different project areas, including career, education, engagement, and volunteering. And please feel free to join our event in the future. And here is our social medias network. One is our Facebook and also Instagram. Just you can always follow us and get the most updated information with us. So here is a brief snapshot of our network. That's our members coming from in different university in Australia. We have members from university all across different states in Australia. So just feel free to shoot us a message in case you got any questions or any concerns while your applications. We will direct you to the right member to give you the most accurate information to help you with your application in the future as well. So today we are very delighted to have 5 speakers to share their experience in studying in Australia. We have Michelle from University of New South Wales, and also Alex from University of Newcastle, and Cody from Monash University, and Noel from University of Adelaide, and also Starkey from the Griffith University as well. So we're very happy to have all of you guys to share the experience with us. So before we go into university experience sharings, just give everyone a little bit information about Australia. So Australia is in the Southern Hemisphere, so the season is a little bit different from what we have in Hong Kong. So while everyone is enjoying their summer in Hong Kong, we are actually pretty freezing here down in Australia, and while we are having our winter time. And the academic school years in Australia is slightly different from Hong Kong as well. So we start university in February and end in November. And some uni may have a slightly different schedule, but most of the medical courses start in late January or February. So there are total 21 medical schools in Australia, which offering different teaching structure and different pathway. So there's a lot of different flexibility available in Australia that you definitely could find one that meets your need and your learning requirement as well. So studying in medical school in Australia is slightly different from studying in Hong Kong. We offer 2 different main pathways. One is undergraduate and one is postgraduate stream. So for undergraduates, it's more like just like a usual university course that takes around 5 to 7 years, depending on the university on which type of program you're enrolled in. There is 2 ways under undergraduate course structure. So the first one is the uni is offering an undergraduate degree together with the first few years as a medical science, or otherwise there is some uni is offering a double degree program, allowing you to have medicine as your second degree. What that means is you can studying other courses like Bachelor of Arts or Commerce or Marketing as another degree, while you are doing medicine as your second degree as well. So some university offering this example, including University of Sydney, they are doing this kind of combination as well. And by the time you finish your undergraduate degree as a medical program, that equivalent to professional entry level of master degree as well. So that will be the undergraduate pathway. But at the same time, if you already got bachelor degree before you studying or before you apply for medical school, you can go for another stream. It's called postgraduate pathway. So this pathway is a 4-year program, and before you apply, you must have a bachelor degree already, or you are in the final year of your bachelor degree. and you have to achieve a certain GPA before you apply to the program as well. And also for this type of program, you need to take examinations called Hkmsa or MCAT, which is the medical school admission test. And you have to refer back to the university which exam result they are accepting, or is there any other specific requirement required by the university as well. So that will be the two snapshot of medical school pathway in Australia. So here is some example of university that is offering the undergraduate entry, which is the one that you can apply by the time you finish high school with the public exam score. You can apply for this undergraduate entry. At the same time, there is a postgraduate entry with 12 universities offering different programs. And just a reminder that University of Queensland is changing into the undergraduate pathway and no longer offering the postgraduate pathway. But what you can do if you got a postgraduate, like if you already got a bachelor degree, you can apply directly into the second year of the programs, just like skipping the first year, and still can apply for the University of Queensland. And also Monash are offering both direct and graduate entry. So for direct, which means the undergraduate entries, you need to finish your degree in 5 years, versus in graduate entry, you're completing your degree in 4 years. And for University of Notre Dame, Australia, they offer medicine program in 2 different campuses, including in Perth and Sydney. For international students, you can only apply the one in Sydney as well. Just a little bit reminder of that. So before applying for medical school or choosing the best medical school that fit your need, some things you want to consider, including your location. Like, are you a city person, or you don't really mind to go into a suburban city, like a little bit farther from those Melbourne, Sydney, or Perth, those kind of big city? And also some things you may want to think of is tuition cost, because the course is around 5 to 7 years for most of the courses. What is your budget for studying as well? And also, what is your learning style and what is your desired cohort size? Because different universities have different number of students per each cohort. Some of them offering small cohorts, like myself is studying in uni offering 140 places, and while some other places is offering 400 people per year. So you really need to think about which kind of cohort size you fit into and what kind of learning style. Are you a more self-directed learner, or you need a more guidance on that? Those are some little things that you might want to consider. And also your area of interest, and also the student culture as well. What that means for area interest is like, do you want to practice medicine in a city area, or you are really into something new area like rural medicines? You don't mind going into a rural places? Then there will be some university have those special focus that might suit your need a little bit more. But if you want to have specialized in some area that is focusing on, let's say, cardiologies, or some more city focused type of medicines, then you might want to choose some university that is located in those kind of area as well. Just a little thought in the back of your mind when you consider which university fit you better. So now we are moving on to our experience sharings. So we will have a speaker from different universities. First, we will have Michelle from UNSW to share her experience. But before we move on to experience sharings, it will be a good chance to scan the QR code to get into the Slido. In case you got any questions during the sharings, you can always pop in your questions there. After Michelle, we will have Alex, Cody, and Noel and Starkey to share their experience in different states in Australia. So Michelle, can you take this away from us?
Thank you, Yolande. I'm Michelle from Education Team, and I'm also a third-year medical student representing the University of New South Wales. And so a little bit about UNSW. So it is in Sydney, at the state of New South Wales, which is located along the southeastern coast of Australia. We honor Australia as a nation blessed with the most biodiversity, and I'm proud to tell you that that University of New South Wales embraces fully our fluffy companions. So we have the capital, the good boy, Jasper, allegedly from the Faculty of Law, with almost 4K followers who have regular appearance on campus to greet you. Our mascot is Clancy the Lion, and our encounter with Frankie the Fox last year also made national news. And onto the broader Sydney. As previously alluded, we are along the coast, so it's a heaven of sunshine and beaches, except for some nasty rain seasons, but you'll never worry about vitamin D deficiency. The closest to our uni, the Coogee Beach, is only 20-minute walk away from the campus. Need not to say the Sydney Opera House next to the stunning Harbour Bridge is well known, but there are also lots of theatres offering music and arts performances all year round at very reasonable student price. So onto the next slide. As a UNSW, you will have a variety of choice when it comes to hospital placements. We are affiliated with 9 teaching hospitals in the metropolitan areas and 11 rural locations, which can broaden your clinical experience. And the closest hospital is only 10-minute walk from our campus, or you may wish to go to the largest teaching hospital in the state, which is the Liverpool Hospitals. But these are just some examples. You can always look it up. And down to the application pathway, in my opinion, UNSW application process and admission requirement is arguably one of the least demanding among all the options. The online medicine application portal MAP accepts entry from March to November, so you can take your time to decide if you wish to apply to us. I understand this decision often depends on your public exam results released in the middle of year. For your application to be considered, the minimum scores of best 5 subjects for HKDSE takers would be 27 from the official website, but realistically 25 sometimes can do. And for IB, 38 or marginally 37, and GCE A level scores would need a minimum of 17. ADA score is the Australian tertiary admission rank, which scores up to 99.95 for Australian local students, and university often provides score conversion. So 8 or 96 or the grade threshold I've just mentioned would be good enough. Next up is admission test, mainly the ISAT, which is a 3-hour computer-based MC test that assesses your ability of reasoning, logical deduction, and forming judgment, which does not require any medical knowledge. You can sit the exam in any Hong Kong centers and score a minimum of 165 for your application to be considered. And due to COVID, the English test requirement this year was adjusted, so you don't have to take IELTS or TOEFL as such, except for providing your high school results for English. But please do check the university website for any latest updates, which I've linked below. And UNSW usually sends out our interview invitation quite quickly after your application submission, but stress not, because we are not having any MMI stations and it's not even in person. What you can expect is at the comfort of your own home, pull up a chair, sit in front of your screen to have a very chill half-hour conversation with one interviewers over Skype or Zoom about your personal life and interests, why you choose medicine, your past experiences, and sometimes ethical questions. But believe it or not, in my own interview, as I had a book about my favorite musical theater in my background, the interviewer and I talked 60% of the time only on that musical, and I got my unconditional offer 1 week after. So now you wonder how it's like studying medicine here. We offer a 6-year undergraduate medicine program. And by the end of it, you'll get 2 degrees, 1 the Bachelor of Medical Studies, and 2 the Doctor of Medicine, plus all minor and additional honors degree in year 4. And the program is split into 3 phases, 2 years each. In phase 1, you'll have your preclinical course curriculum that focuses on basic clinical sciences and fundamental medical knowledge that will equip you for the clinical years. Just like most uni, you'll get lectures recorded in person or online, practicals for anatomy, histopath, microbiology, physiology, and QMP, essentially research and statistics, as well as clinical sessions where you can learn and practice history taking with simulated patients or pairs and simple procedures on campus or in hospital. What's special in UNSW though is that we have scenario-based learning, SBL, which is learning each course together with an overarching clinical case, and we would have scenario groups, SGs, where like small groups of 10 to 15 people supervised by one tutor to consolidate knowledge from other learning activities twice a week. And we also run HM and AE courses in alternate years so that first year and second years can take the same course together for 2 terms for better learning. And as for phase 2, clinical placement is integrated and students may choose to go metro or rural. The 6 rotations in year 3 gives brief exposure to internal med, geriatrics, obs-gyn, peds, and oncology. And you will spend a full 4th year doing a research project of your choice with a supervisor you pick. Finally, in phase 3, you will be full-on clinical rotations that will cover almost all major disciplines. And you'll have one selective term where you can go overseas, such as Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, UK, France, and US are very popular choices. And if you are feeling your artistic streak is buried by choosing medicine, then you may do an additional 1 to 2 years to go on a stream of medicine or arts program at your leisure. And onto the next slide, here's a little snapshot into what our phase 1 is like. We have access to amazing online resources for learning anatomy and histopath. For example, the free access to Complete Anatomy app, which would cost a subscription of 500 Hong Kong dollars per year. And these slides that is annotated by our professors for all our courses. And on top of that, I personally enjoy having interactive online modules linked to most practicals and lectures as shown on the left and right. And in the middle is the snapshot of the scenarios and related practicals in our HMA courses, which centers on cardiology. But as we follow clinical scenarios, that's actual cases, other disciplines such as anesthetics, psychiatry can be explored. Scenario-based learning therefore gives us a good mix of block-based learning and case-based PBL. So not too much spoon feeding, nor way on our own. And onto university life. Studying in overseas can be daunting experience, but UNSW has immense support for international students. The MEDsoc has international representatives that advocate for our rights and have direct communication with MEDfac monthly to bring in real changes, ranging from course delivery, emotional well-being support to exam arrangement. We have heaps of mentorship and support programs in place to make sure you're taken care of in academics, in hospitals, and even your socials. I'm very proud of our strong teaching culture here among the seniors, and we would unreservedly provide juniors with all resources, practical help on assessments, additional tools, and even lending our own veins on our arm to help you practice cannulation. And if you're looking for maximizing your experience while you're in uni, UNSW's got you covered too. Out of all universities in Australia, we have the most number of societies, specialty related ones like Search Soc, Internal Med Soc, and Crit Care Soc, extracurricular in nature like medical music soc for you orchestra or music kids, and all sorts of sports soc. And down to really exotic and quirky soc like tea and coffee appreciation soc, bubble tea soc, the dog and cat society. If you can't think of it, we will probably have it. And so don't worry about finding your unique squad here, because no one is really left behind. And even if you are not into society involvement, there are myriads of volunteering opportunities and chances for you to become a peer mentor or gaining an official post as teaching assistant for junior med student. As for your social life outside of medicine, UNSW offers tons of options for residential colleges where a lot of international students and Hong Kong Medis stay. And of course, we UNSW Medis are also involved heavily in societies like Hkmsa, like this one, and HK Moms to ensure you are broadened. You can broaden your social network while you're with us. And perhaps the past few minutes been an information overload, and you will probably be after listening to all the eye-opening sharing that follows. But if there's something special about UNSW that you want to remember, is that you will get to do a full year of research on a negotiated topic you're interested in, and you will have the opportunity to publish your own paper and even gaining a third degree without doing an additional year. And for those who are not sure or contemplating about returning to Hong Kong to work after graduating in Australia, UNSW is the only one out of two on undergraduate medicine program in Australia that is recognized by the Hong Kong Medical Council for special registration. And so that's a sneak peek from an insider perspective on UNSW. Feel free to scan the QR code at the bottom to ask any questions, which I'll answer at the end of the session, or save my contact details here. Thank you. I'll pass it on to our next speaker. Alex, please.
Thank you, Michelle. So hi guys, I'm Alex from University of Newcastle. I'm a first year medical student, and this year is I'm going to tell you about a little bit about Newcastle and also UON and also the program of JMP. So in University of Newcastle, or in Newcastle City, it's like a harbour city. So it's also in New South Wales, really close to Sydney. And it's around like 2 hours drive, or like take 3 hours if you are taking a train. And it's like really good lifestyle in there. Most of the people in there, usually they do like surfing, golfing, driving range, and also like archery. So it's a really nice place to chill and also to study. And the nightlife in Newcastle is not that popular, but they also have like little bit clubs, which for me personally, I find it like is a really nice place to focus on my study and also focus on my degree. If you are that kind of like person who's like want to have time to show and also have your own time to focus on your study, Newcastle is one of the really good place and really good city for you to study in. For University of Newcastle, we got multiple campuses around the world and also in Australia. In Australia, for the whole New South Wales, we will have campus in Newcastle, which is where I'm staying. It's called Carlingham. And we also have Abraham, Port Macquarie, and also in Sydney CBD. And one more place is in Singapore. And we have like multiple campuses. Today, I'm going to focus a little bit on the Newcastle Carlingham campuses. We got like two main campuses. One is in in the Carlingham suburb, and the other one is in Newcastle CBD. On the left-hand side, that one is right inside Carlingham suburb. Is a really big campus with trees and greenlands mixed with like different kind of like architecture in there. So it's a really nice place to chill. One of the cons is if it's summertime, mosquito is actually really a lot. We got one when we were like first year get here, is prepare your mossy liquid to like get rid of those like mosquito. So that's like one of the cons. And for the city campus, is one of the newest building in Newcastle. It's really nice and is all the resources in there. They got libraries and multiple computers that allow students to use and study, and they have a range of like food choices around the city too. So this is University of Newcastle, currently like in Newcastle City. For the next one is, let's get into the program. So my programs, we call it JMP, but in the formal name is Bachelor of Medical Science and Doctor of Medicine. Quite similar to UNSW, when you graduate, you also have like 2 degrees in hand. One is Bachelor of Medical Science, the other one is MD. So it's like a joint program from University of Newcastle and also University of New England. So some of our classes, they might be overlapped, and you can also like see people and meet people from University of New England, and you can have like different discussion with them and also like work with them and study with them. Is duration for this program is a 5-year full time. And if you apply this year, your starting date for your first semester will be the 20th of February 2023. For the next one, I'm going to talk about the application requirement. So for the application time, you need to either you can apply online, the other one you can apply through your agent. It's the timing is between mid-August, and for international is the 7th of September this year. For academic requirement, if you are school leavers, which mean high school leavers, if you're studying in Australian high school, your age is required at least 94.3. And for if you're not from Australia, you study in Hong Kong, or are you studying A levels or IB, you can still hand in your academic transcript to the school or to your agency. So at the end, they will hand it in to international administration and make a decision if you are available or if you're suitable for the school, and they'll give you an invitation for interviews. So the other ones for non-school leavers, which is one of the other pathway. I'm one of the non-school leavers who got into JMP this year. Last year I was doing biomedical science. So for this pathway, you need to have 1 year full-time of studying of your own degree. And then you at least need to get 4.7 of a 7-point GPA to get it in. So that's the basic academic requirement. For admission tests, for last year and also the year before, we're still using ISAT, which is International Student Administration Test. But this year, we're going to use UCAT in Australia test. I'm not sure if you guys have UKCAT or UCAT. Those are a quite similar tests with 5 sections, and then you have multiple question in each session. Those are the things that you might need to practice and also need to prepare for. And they do take a really really important for this test, because they will give you online personal quality assessment after they see your score, and they will send you the invitation and do that assessment to see if you're available for the school too. For English language, which is most focused for Hong Kong student and also other non-English speaker, University of Newcastle usually accept IELTS. So overall minimum 7 score, and also each session you also need to get 7 score. So if you got 8.5 or you got 9 in certain section, and overall you still got 7, it's not enough. It's basically all writing, speaking, listening, and reading, you all need to get 7. So this is one of the really specific requirement for University of Newcastle. For interview, we are using MSA, which is super similar to MMA. You have 4 stations, and then we will give you different kind of scenarios. You have to talk about your interest of medicine, why do you want to choose medicine, what is your past experiences, and they will also give you a bunch of a list of qualities, and they will throw you questions of what do you think is most important for team working, or what's most important for leadership, and then there was a bunch of qualities you have to choose, but you can't really explain the reason why you choose it. So they will have those kind of a MSA to do our interview assessment. For COVID times, we are currently using online, so Zoom or Skype. I believe in future years, if COVID has been getting solved up, then it will become in person. It's not really that stressful for this MSA, and I personally find it if you are well understanding why do you want to do medicine, and you're well prepared for your medical career path, you did your homework, you did your past experience, you joined clinical placement, I'm sure you will be fine. And the last one is the assessment, which is just I mentioned about UCAT score. Your UCAT score will determine will they give you an invitation to do an online personal qualities assessment. So that one, I wasn't able to get the invitation. I'm not quite sure why, but some of the students, they might get it. And when we compare the score, some of them, they have higher score than me, and some of them, they're lower score than me. So it might be a little bit random, but just one of the suggestions is get high score as you can in UCAT. And if you don't have an invitation, don't be scared. You're not out yet. And because I personally didn't do it, but I still got in JMP. So those are the 6 requirements for application. For the next slide is I'll just like do a little bit more description and more like reminder, like what you need to be done and what needs to submit to like when you're applying online or you find an agent. So the first thing is your academic transcript. The second thing is your school completion of certification, and then your evidence of English test, your passport, and the end you can add your CV or if you have a LinkedIn account of your work placement or your work experience. You can also give it to your agent and also apply online by yourself. The other one is on the other side is like the important emails and also website. Those 2 emails up there, international inquiries and also IA, which is international admission email. Those 2 are really helpful because like last year I didn't apply through agent and I applied like all by myself, and they're really helpful. If you are really interested in University of Newcastle and you want to get more information from them, just send them an email. They're really helpful and they will answer all the questions as soon as possible. You just send an email to them. They're really good, to be honest. And for the other 2 website is the website that you can do your own research on. When I was preparing for my interview, I also like go into those 2 websites to like just take a look or what is this school about and then what they're doing and also like what they're going to teach me. So those 2 websites also like extra information for you to like prepare your interview and also help you to understand more about Newcastle. So this slide, we're going to talk about the course structure. For John Medical Program, as I mentioned before, it's like 2 degree program combined together, and also you have like 2 university coordinate with each other. We also have like 3 phrases. For the first 2 phrases is Bachelor of Medical Science, and you will like learn most of your like clinical skills and PBL and also like OSCE in those years, which we call like a preclinical year. And in year 3, you will like start a little bit placement in hospital, and also you can choose to do clinics, and you can choose either urban area or you can do it in rural area. And for the phrase for the phrase 3 is Doctor of Medicine, which is you are kind of like completely like self-directing learning, and you will like be put into hospital and do rounding all the time, and at the same time you like having classes on your own. They will send you like lecture recordings for yourself. So the next slide is like a more detail, like a little bit like a explanation and also more description about like each year what you're gonna learn. For now, I'm in year 1, so basically we learn about like basic human system, the anatomy, physiology, and one of the things that I really like for year 1 is we have like early clinical skills. Some school in University of Newcastle, they don't necessarily have OSCE, which is OSCE. We'll do physical exam, we'll do consultation, we'll have lots of like simulation patient, and they will have some of them, they actually have diseases or they may have sicknesses that you need to find it out. So it's a really fun thing to have in first year. Like you got a really early clinical approach. And for year 3, you start your placement in hospital, and also you will like do more self-direct learning, and also year 4 and year 5. So for the next slide, we mentioned, like I mentioned about like clinical placement, but how many hospital or how many clinical school there are in for University of Newcastle student. So for rural, we got 3 locations. One's Armadale, we got Tamworth, and also Terry. Those are the clinical school that you can apply to, and they are also next to the hospital. So sometimes you will see real life patient, and you will also can practice your skills on real life patient. And the urban side will be in Maitland, Newcastle, and also Gosford. In Newcastle, it's really special. They also give you like they also have like 2 main hospitals. One is MEDtata, The other one is John Hunter Hospital. So you got around like 7 clinical school or 7 hospital for you if you choose University of Newcastle or UN or University of New England. You got a bunch of places for you to do placement, and you got more choice, and you won't be scared like, oh, what if I don't get placement, or you won't be like confused. One of the tips for one of the like good things I would say again to you, and I suggest like because this school is more related with rural health and also Aboriginal people. So if you choose to study here, you will get to know more about the respect to the locals, Aboriginals culture, and also their health. You can see there is actually quite different approach when you're treating normal urban citizen and also rural citizen. And if you at the end one day you choose to go to like rural clinical placement, you will be more like from what I heard, you have like more independence, learning skills, and later on in work you will be like more appreciated because like you technically do everything on your own in rural placement. It will be like a little bit stressful, but I think it's a really good opportunity to actually learn medicine and also practice medicine. So this is my presentation, and the next slide will be like my contact. And if you want to like ask any question about UN or UNE, you can definitely send me an email or add me on Facebook and just send me a message. And thank you so much. I'm going to pass it to the next speaker from, I think, Scody.
Okay, thank you, Alex. So I'm currently a second year medical student in Monash, and I'm Cody. And I'm just going to talk a bit about Monash University. So next slide, please. So firstly, Monash is situated in Victoria, in Melbourne. And I would say Victoria is actually quite a very diverse city. And there's a great cultural diversity. We have bubble tea even on campus, and you can actually see bubble tea shops everywhere. And for the food, Victoria is actually quite famous for the cafe and also the brunches. And we are actually called the food paradise in Australia. So the food is quite good. And also we have a lot of free food on campus. So you can see on the picture over there, there's actually some churros free given on campus. So the food is nice. But the weather is changing a lot. So we usually say that Melbourne has 4 seasons in one day, and it changes every 10 minutes. So it's quite a very unique aspect in Melbourne as well. And I would also say that nightlife is also quite vibrant. So if you're looking for a more social aspect, I would say Melbourne is also quite a good city for that. And it's very close. A lot of clubs are very close to the Clayton campus. So in Monash, we have 3 campuses. We have Caulfield, Peninsula, and Clayton. But if you're studying medicine, you're basically located in Clayton. And Clayton is actually the biggest campus and is most accessible to the food and also to the club. So it's quite a good place. Next slide, please. Yes, so I'm going to talk about the course structure. So we are a 5-year, full-year program. And for the first 2 years, we have a preclinical, we're doing our preclinical year for the first 3 years. So we usually do by systems, and the basic weekly structure is that we have 6 lectures pre-recorded per week, and it's released on Sunday, so you can watch it on your own time, on your own pace. And we also have tutorials within the week. We have anatomy, we have clinical skills, and then we also have a tutorial called ICL, which is the integrated case learning, and where you will be given cases and you react and people discusses the case together. And then we also have some subjects related to the Australian healthcare system. So they basically introduce you to some like issues within the Australian healthcare system and also some global health issues as well. And for year 3 and 4, 5, so we are doing our clinical year in that. So on the 3rd year, we have 6 to 8 rotations in medicine or surgery. So we are going to multiple clinical sites, and we also get bedside tutorials every week, and also some hospital specific tutorials. It really based on which hospitals you get placed to. It's different between hospitals, but the rotations are very similar. And for year 4, we have 4 rotations in pediatrics, in psychiatry, in women's health, and also in GP. So there is 2 clinical sites in each rotation. And then in the 5th year, we are doing a pre-kin year. So basically there's 6 rotations of 6 weeks each. And we do medicine, again, surgery, ED, and also aged care, also one in specialty and research. So if you are very, very interested in research, so apart from that short period of time where you can involve in research, you can also take an intercalated year and do a whole year research. So if you finish that year, you will get a honors in Bachelor of Medical Science. So if you don't do that year, your degree name would not have honors in it, but you can take your own choice, see whether you're very interested in research, you take another year off for that. And also within the clinical years, you can also take additional courses like language, literature, or other art-related courses. So I think they are quite personalized. The curriculum is quite personalized, so you can actually choose what you wanted to add on to your years. And I'll talk a bit about the course size. So there's around 430 students in our cohort, and around 360 students for locals and 70 for internationals. But I would say, like, for internationals, they mainly come from Singapore. So exercise. Yes. Okay. So this is basically what we need for our application. So the application ratings are split equally between academic results, ISET, and also MMI, so the interview. So for basic requirements for high school results, if you're doing Hong Kong DSE, you'll need at least a minimum of 25. IB would be 39. A levels would be 15 in 3 subjects. And then we'll need to do a admission test as well. So ISET. So ISET basically have 2 sections. And this there are multiple choice questions, and you can like have the online test in Hong Kong. So you need to have a minimum of 170 marks and a minimum of 165 per sections. But I would say even if you didn't get the minimum score, there's also still a high chance of you getting in. So because when we compare scores, there are like a variety of different scores that we have in different people, but they still have the chance to get in. So I wouldn't really fret about it if you didn't get to the minimum score. And then we also have MMI. People would say MMI is very first stressful, but have 4 stations and honors are very nice. So I'll talk more about that later on. And apart from that, we also need some English tests, that is IELTS or TOEFL. So if you meet the minimum scores, then you're good to go. Yep, next slide. Okay, so this is basically our Moodle, so our platform for students to access their weekly materials. So as you can see on the left-hand side, we have 6 lectures per week. And then we also have some pre-workshop activities that you need to do. And the lower right hand side, the picture on the lower right is actually our lecture theater. So basically what we did here is doing a workshop, and we're a group of 4 to 5 students within a table, and we discuss the cases together, and then we also write something onto the table, and so to discuss the case together. So this is basically what we do within workshops and some tutorials as well. Yeah, so in year 1 and 2, we actually get some visits opportunities. So because my first year was on online, so it was Zoom, so I didn't get the visits that we were supposed to have. But in year 2, I went to the rural placement. So they offer you these opportunities to actually help you decide whether you want to preference your placement sites in rural or metro areas when you're in clinical years. So I went to Benegal, and we get a lot of opportunities to shadow doctors and also shadow other medical students, and even going to other visits to indigenous sites and to farms as well. So I'll talk a bit more about the interview. So it's in MMI format, and there are 4 stations, 10 minutes for each station. You have 2 minutes to prepare per station and 8 minutes for answering the questions. So the examiner, after you read the whole case, they will give you 5 questions, and you will need to have, you'll only have 8 minutes to answer all the questions, and then 1 interviewer per station. And within the station, they are scenario based. So I would think that you don't really need to stress about it, because these scenarios are mostly very real life related to you. So for example, they will ask you about, you have a friend that has some issues, and how would you react to that? And what would you do if you were someone else as well? So they are quite personal, and it's issues that you probably face before in real life. So you just need to present your understanding, your empathy, and also your logical reasoning on your answer. So you're good to go. And you could potentially also read up on the 4 principles of medical ethics if you want, but I didn't actually get any questions related to medical ethics. So so we actually have a lot of Hong Kongers as well. Of course, Unsw have more Hong Kongers than us, but we also have quite a very supportive community right here. And there's a very strong supportive culture of senior teaching and mentoring juniors, offering lectures or even clinical skills tutorials. So I really enjoy the culture we have and support we have within Monash. So if you have any questions, you can contact me. These are my contacts. And also, we also have a YouTube video from Hong Kong Hkmsa about the day in the life of a Monash medical student. So if you are interested in knowing more, you can actually go on to the link below. So thank you. I'll pass on to Kevin.
Hello, my name's Kevin Liu. I'm a 3rd-year medical student at the University of Adelaide. And sitting alongside is Noel, who is a 1st year, and we are cooperatively doing the presentation together. Next slide, please. So before going into the university, I'd like to talk about some demographics about University of Adelaide and the City of Adelaide, and also South Australia. Adelaide is the capital city of SA, South Australia. And population-wise, it's only 1/3 of that of Hong Kong. And in terms of area, it's 6 times, which is much bigger than that of Hong Kong. We are quite famous about our wine industry here. And at the university, we actually have a Department of Agriculture and Wine. And you can tell from the picture here in Adelaide, we also generate a lot of young pilots, in particular for Cathay Pacific. And last year, we were deemed the 3rd most livable city around the globe. And of course, Adelaide is also famous for its medical schools. Next slide, please. As I said before, I'm a 3rd year, so my degree program is MBBS, which is a 6-year program. But our university is in transition to MD. That's why I have Noel here, who is the 1st year, to talk about more about the 6-year MD program. So I'll hand over to him for the rest of the time.
Hi guys, I'm Noel, and just do a brief introductions, because I am the 1st year of the MD program, and our program, just like the NSW, we have split in 2 degrees, and as long as you finish your degree, you will have your Bachelor of Medical Studies and also your Doctor of Medicines. So is this a 3+3 degree? And as I am in the 1st year, so we are kind of still developing our program. So the school is quite relying on our feedbacks to modify their curriculum and also the course design and also some kind of assessment. So probably our reflections are quite crucial for your future study. And for the applications process, we can divide it into 6 phases. And first of all, probably you guys already finished your DSE and also waiting for the result. And for the minimum requirements, well, we, as stated on the website, is just like 22, and for the IB is 33. And also we accept the ATAR and also the foundations courses too. And for the applications, you should be thinking about if you want to apply it, you should apply before this month, the end of this month, and also apply for the UCAT, ANC, and the IELTS. And just a friendly reminder that your UCAT, you must apply for the UCAT ANC, not the simply UCAT. If you apply simply UCAT, you will not be accepted. And actually, the content is totally the same, but they're just totally two tests. And then for the IELTS, you have to get the overall band 7 and also all subsets for band 7 up. So we also accept TOEFLs and PTE. If you know what they are same like the other English proficiency tests. And for the UCAT, we considered about 2,800 as a competitive scores, and this is not kind of like official data, but just based on like word of mouth and also like observations between our other classmates. And I would say our selection process is actually sequentials. You have to get like make into like 3 steps. First, you have to get a good score of your UCAT, as I said, and then your UCAT score is quite important to help you to get into the interview. Because like their interview eligibility is based on your UCAT scores, and high score you get, high chance you will invited to the interview. And approximately 160 applicants will be invited during that exercise. And then I will explain the mode of interview to you guys in a minute. And at last, your offer will be released based on 3 factors. First is your interview results. And then second is your UCAT scores. And then third is actually your academic results. So that's why I say this is kind of stepwise process. You have to get your pretty good like UCAT score to help you to get into the interview phase. And then if you can smash the interview during that, like to beat your opponents, and you have a like really good chance to get into our math school. And our offer round begins, we begin in mid of October this year until the February of next year. And I received my offer about early December in last year. So I think like most of the like our international students will actually got their offer like before January. And in our program, it is strictly accept like 30 international students. So there is no any kind of like room for accepting more students. Next slide, please. And for our program, we kind of new, but we adopt the experience of the MBBS. And for our first year bachelor degree, we have split into 4 domains. And every time, actually, we are kind of branded courses. So we a branded courses means we don't have to register or enroll separate courses. We just enroll 1 courses per semester. So we got all these 4 domains in 1 courses. Probably you have no idea about it because like in normally you have to apply separate courses in uni 1 by 1, but in our course design we just apply for 1 course and you will got all the like different type of classes, lectures, or workshops or seminars in this particular courses, and which will help you kind of like hassle-free to apply during the enrollment phase. And we have split in 4 domains, as you see. For the science and scholar, we focus on the core medical knowledge, which is like which is the most crucial as you become a future doctor or even a researcher. And because we are kind of transitioning to the MD program, the difference between the MBBS and the MD is we have more emphasis on research, like research skills. And we are in our year 3, we are expected to learn some research skills. And in the final year, year 6, we are expected to do real research. And real research means that we have to under a supervisor and conduct research of a topic you want, and then possibly if it's good enough, it could be published as a note. And then for the professional leadership, we kind of know about the medical ethics, the code of conduct. Also, they have kind of a big emphasis on your to try to reflect yourself and as a doctor, future doctor, what kind of personal traits, values, and also we learn about the multidisciplinary efforts. And then for this clinical practice, this is my favorite, my favorite parts, because you can have a taste to be a real doctor, to see some simulated patients, and I will go to this part in a minute. And on this part, we learn about the history taking, physical exams, the disease management presentations, and also how do you get your diagnosis correctly and guide your thinking process by multiple workshops and also different kind of tutors. And for the health and society, it is more public health thing. You learn about the epidemiology. Epidemiology is a kind of the disease pattern and some statistical thing of different kind of disease in different populations and different countries. And also we learn about the indigenous people health and also other global health issues. Yeah, next slide, please. And we are using the SBL, which is the scenario-based learning. So in the previous program, MBBS, it called the CBL, but actually just use another phase, but actually the content is quite alike. And this particular part, we have to, we are given a particular case, possibly with a diagnosis with diabetes, hypertension, stroke, and then in this case, they will have kind of signs and symptoms. We have to work on it to see how to diagnose the patients and learn about the signs and symptoms in a group. And so this is a kind of small group discussions, and also try to work with others, which is quite crucial in your future practice, because we are, even you are a doctor, you can work independently, but actually in the real life you have to work with other doctors and also with other specialty. So you can see that this is on the different pages, you can see the further history, the physical exam on it, and we have to work on all the data as a group. Next slide, please. And in our 4 to 6 years, I would say we have no we have new programs, so we don't know what actually will happen. But as the school said, we will start our clinical rotations starting on the years 4, and then all kind of specialties. Possibly for the year 4, we will start for the medical and the surgical stream first, and then we do the specialties such as AED and such other ENT or other even forensic pathology. As I know, we will take on in year 5, and then for year 6, we will further do the specialty training and also the, as I said, the research study. And for the on the slides, you can see that this is we are on the clinical practice workshop, and we have some simulated patients. We have to like take history from them, and also we perform physical exam on them to master our skills, and also to be familiarized the process to get know about our patients, to make our correct diagnose, to try to mimic our future practice. And one of our like famous thing in our med school is the Stimulation Center. This is quite brand new. It's built in I think it's like 2017, and also we got a team of a stimulation team will help us to mimic this real clinical situation, and then try to navigate the diagnosis and how to treat the patients and the signs symptoms. And so this is like kind of really good experience if you like kind of try to see some real patients, and also like try to be actually you can be a doctor during our med school already. So every time during this kind of simulation process, there will be like a GP or a tutor from other specialty, and you can learn from them, from the real doctor. So this is, I would say, the most my favorite part in our program. And next slide, please. All right, so for the interview, it is so good that you guys don't need to do the MMI. Like, so we, from my experience, it was like 30 minutes interview from one interviewer, and I would say it was pretty chill process. They just want to know about you, because like if you can get into the interview process, you possibly have halfway to your medical degree already. You just need to smash it. And then I remember they just asked me about what I have done during the years, because I'm kind of mature students. I was a nurse specialist, and then they talk about my work, my experience, and possibly if you guys are secondary students, you can talk about your volunteer work, and also like some healthcare related services. It could be beneficial during the interview process. And also remember what you learned from that kind of activities and events, because like they didn't want you just list out all the things. They want you to think. They want you to think about what actually from this kind of experience you learn, and makes you become or you want to pursue medicine. And always think about why you pursue medicine rather than other professions. Because like, if you say, I want to help others, all right, you can be a nurse to help others. You can be a physiotherapist to help others. But why you want to be a doctor? So this is quite crucial. And you have to ask yourself these questions, and you have to reflect on it. And also, please familiarize our program before you apply it, because like this is a new program. They want you to know about our program before you apply. And actually, they asked me about it's really funny. It asked me what is what you do know what is your understanding of our program. And I just basically say, they are SPL, and it is a new program. It's split into like 3+3, and then they are kind of like satisfied if you're quite well known about the program. So I think the most important thing is you try to just don't want to show off yourself, but actually you are kind of have a comprehensive understanding to the medicine as a whole. Yeah, thank you. So Kevin and I can be reached on Instagram or Facebook, just searching by our name. And then if you have any kind of questions, you can just DM us Yeah, we are pretty chill in Adelaide, actually.
I've got something to add on, just a piece of advice to the potential applicants. If you can think of anything like a member of St. John Ambulance, Red Cross, or a certificate for CPR, any kind of things related to healthcare, include it in your resume or personal statement, and do present it during the interview. It helps a lot. At least it works for me.
Yeah. This is kind of healthcare related, service. Yeah, thanks. Cheers, mate. So we will hand you like stage.
All right, can you hear me? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm Starkey and I'm Griffith representative for this presentation, and also the only Queensland representative, apparently. But anyway, let's get started. So here is the Griffith University facility view. And this is specifically located in the Gold Coast, where I'm in now. And for Griffith, there are 5 campuses. So they are, of course, the Gold Coast, where the major medicine facility is located at. And there is also Logan at Mount Griffith, in Nathan, in the central CBD in Brisbane, and also South Bank. And as far as I know, medicine facilities, there are 2 places in Sunshine Coast and also in Gold Coast. So in Sunshine Coast, there is another university called, I think, University of Sunshine Coast. Boring, hey. But I think Griffith does a collaboration with that university for the medicine program. But since I'm not there, so I'm not too familiar with it. Okay, next slide. So a bit about Gold Coast. In Gold Coast, you can enjoy the subtropical climate and also the laid-back atmosphere, the nightlife, and also the sandy beaches, which is well known for. And apart from that, there are also national parks where you can visit. Examples like Springbrook, Lamington, and Tambourine, which I haven't shown in the pictures, but you can just Google it. And they are all World Heritage protected areas. And all these subtropical rainforests are visitor friendly. And you got to meet many Aboriginal and Indigenous people there as well. So apart from your medical life, you also have the chance to actually strike a work-life balance here, where you play hard and work hard. All right. Next page, please. So I will talk about the postgraduate entry first, and I will talk about the undergraduate entry. So for postgraduate entry each year, there's about like 200 places for last year. And I think they actually increased this 20 or 30 places this year. So actually in Griffith, you have a high chance to get into medicine. And for postgraduate entry, what you need is, like showing the screen, GAMSAT, a key degree. So a key degree is basically any degree, including a bachelor, a master, or any PhD degrees. And specifically for a bachelor degree, a minimum GPA of 5 or above is required. And for GAMSAT, what is shown on the website of the Griffith University Doctor of Medicine page suggests that a minimum of 50 in each section is required for GAMSAT. But unfortunately, because I entered this program through the undergraduate pathway, I can't give much advice on the GAMSAT, as well as the multiple, the MMI in the Griffith, which is the GOMSAA. So basically, in Griffith, we combine the GPA from your degree together with the GAMSAT and rank the potential applicants in order of their score, and we give out interview opportunities according to the ranking. So that's for the postgraduate entry. And I believe, of course, you will have to submit your CV together with any relevant medical health experiences. What I know is, of course, you can supply with maybe a gap year in overseas, taking part in doctor shadowing, or even just any kind of certificate related to the medical healthcare. All right, so that's for postgraduate entry. Alrighty, so next one is undergraduate entry. I can talk a bit more about this. So undergraduate entry in Griffith, postgraduate entry, so the whole program comprised of a 2-year bachelor degree with a 4-year Doctor of Medicine program. To gain an entry into this package, for Hong Kong DSE takers, you need to sorry, I think I put something wrong here, but basically for Hong Kong DSE, I think you need a 25 for the best 5 subjects, as I can recall, and you need to take ISET for any international students. There is no specific score that is required for the ISET, but they require you to sit this exam, which I think Michelle talked about, how the ISET works. And for A-levels, GCE A-levels, because I was one of the students that actually took this pathway. I personally finished Hong Kong DSE, but I didn't get the score to get into Hong Kong medical schools. And then I move on to study A-levels in UK, and then finish A-levels and apply the Australian medical schools through the through agencies. And you can see here, you need a minimum of 16 in the best 3 A-level subjects. So if you finished the whole A-level 2-year course, then you will have the so A star will represent 6 and A will represent 5, respectively. And if you only finish the first year of A level, like AS level, then you will only get half the score, as you can see from the presentation, the PowerPoint. And for English requirement, you can take IELTS or TOEFL, but I don't think they have a specific requirement for TOEFL. So probably you will have to email the administration department of the medical school to check with them, because they only put IELTS on the website saying that an overall of 7 or above with no subclass below 6.5. Okay, and so regarding the location of the undergraduate entry, and oh yes, the undergraduate entry is called the Bachelor of Medical Science. All right, and for the location, back to the location, there is Nathan and Gold Coast campus that you can pick from as an international student, of course, for the domestic students as well. So Nathan is located in the CBD of Brisbane, and Gold Coast is a more laid-back atmosphere, like I mentioned before. And what I know is that the 2 locations actually offer different courses in the 2-year bachelor degree. So there will be a slight difference in the course that you study in the 2 years. So for example, as a personal experience, in Gold Coast, we don't have to study specifically the pharmacology. But what I heard from my peers that finished their bachelor degree in Nathan, they actually have to study specifically a course called pharmacology in the 2-year. So it depends on how you want to live your life during the 2 years. You can pick the location, and also you might want to read the degree outline on their website to see which courses actually fit you more. Okay. Cool. So next page is the course curriculum. So course curriculum, like I said, there is 2 years of undergraduate, year 1 and year 2. And I've also provided with the link there. So when you check that later, you can click on it and you can just check what course interests you. And now talking about the postgraduate years. So there are 4 streams. I won't just read them out because it's boring. But you can see there are 4 of them. So the first one is abbreviated to DKHI, and it's actually the medical science component. So it covers all the physiology, anatomy, histopath, and the disease diagnosis and management. So the most exciting part about this stream is the PBL. Okay, PBL is I think basically the same as the SBL from other medical schools. So it's a 2 sessions per weekly, which lasts for 2.5 hours. And there are learning objectives for each PBL case, covering all other 4 streams, all other 3 streams, so that there is actually a guided way for you to surf through each cases. Okay, I think it's actually better to move on to the next page so that it's more easy to explain. Thank you. Okay, so like I said, there is PBL, 2.5 hours, 2 times per week. And I think the medical school is actually changing the PBL from this year to next year as the TBL. So the difference between the PBL and TBL is you're still in a team, but the facilitator no longer stays in your own group. It actually runs between several groups. So you actually have a chance to have a talk with your teammates. So I think the only tip for me on this new TBL learning style is don't be shy, don't be afraid, and try to discuss with your teammates. Okay. Okay, so lectures, of course, in medical schools, there will be lectures. In Griffith, so far it's still in mixed mode, and it is delivered live by the professors, so you can still attend it in person, but then it is recorded and put online, so you can so my suggestion is attend the lectures on in person first and go back to the recording if it is needed. Okay, because sometimes professors just go through concepts too fast and you can't catch up during the in-person live lectures. Okay, and for DKHI, there is also the Histopathological Practicum and also the Anatomy Practicum. I believe regarding Anatomy Practicum, we are the only medical school in the Queensland that has a real cadaver laboratory where you get the hand-on experience and guided through by our tutors, which are 3rd year or 4th year medical students, to actually look at a cadaver and identify different structures on the cadaver. And of course, our examination is also pinned on the real cadavers, so that when you are actually doing your placement in your clinical years, you will have the edge and advantage to transfer all the anatomical knowledge into real practice. Okay, and for histopathological practicum, I think our professor, our medical school has subscribed to best slides, so that during the live workshops or lectures, you will have the chance to have a look at the slides in different magnifications. In Griffith, we also have some gross specimen available, so you can have a look at them during the live lectures in person. So that's all about your medical science components. And the other 3 streams are doctor, patient, doctor, health, and community. So doctor, patient covers all the hand-on skills, for example, like taking history, communication, clinical skills, and procedural skills. So here you will have workshops with simulated patients, and you have to take history from them. So you will have a scenario where you will know what you are doing, okay? And at the end of your second year, you have the OSCE examinations. So you will have to combine all your knowledge from the DKHI, from all your medical science knowledges, and also the history taking knowledge to take a complete and concrete history from the patient. Apart from communication and thinking history, there is also clinical skills and procedural skills, where you have the chance to cannulate, to take physical examinations on different systems, cardiovascular, respiratory, GI tracts, etc. And DHC, like other medical schools, it is about epidemiology, global health, about your quantitative and qualitative research methodology, about primary health and community support. Okay, this is also important aspects of being a doctor, so not a part to miss. And since we are at the coast, a more rural area, we have placements and in-person experience to have a chance to talk with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Okay, I think it is quite important to practice to have this experience before actually practicing medicine independently in Australia, because even though if you choose to practice in urban area after your internship, you still have the chance to meet with our fellow Aboriginal and First Nation people. So having this experience before actually getting into your real life clinical practice is precious. Last but not least, the last stream is D-Lab, which is about the medical ethics and law thing. So this component basically just ensure you practice medicine safely under the element of professionalism and understanding all the legal obligations in different situations, especially in emergency situation. Okay, cool. Next slide, please. So this is my contact here. Just a few last things about Griffith. There are different society in Griffith that is related to medicine. Of course, there is our medical society, which can offer you help to transition from Hong Kong or other areas into living in Gold Coast. But also, there are also Sergia, which is a society in Queensland that is interested in surgery. We also have Hope for Health. Like I said, Griffith is situated in a more rural area. So Hope for Health is a society that gives you additional experiences to rural placements. We also have a general practice student network where it gives you information and many other resources about being a GP. We have many other clubs like this, so go check them out. We also have Student Guild, which is about your social life, and there are many clubs, cultural clubs, social clubs, sports clubs, where you can join and meet our fellow Australians. All right, so if you have any questions, shoot me a message or send me an email, whatever you like.
Yeah, thank you, Starkey, very much for his presentation and all the speakers. I'm just going to remind everyone again about the Slido link, which can be which you can scan using your phone with the QR code on the bottom right-hand corner. And before we end today's seminar, I'm just going to talk a little bit about internships and also the future, like after you graduate medicine. So you often hear our faculty saying about how getting into the medical school is already the hardest part, and honestly, we agree to disagree. As an international student, as an international medical graduate, career crisis is often a concern, and so help if we know what's ahead of us after we finish our medical school. After you finish, after all, studying overseas is a very huge decision, that will also impact your future career. And also your family planning as well. So in Australia, after you graduate, you go through a 1 year of internship, which is a period of supervised clinical training in an accredited hospital, and it's necessary for you to ultimately obtain a full registration. However, of course, as the specialist registration pathway is launched this year in Hong Kong, there's also more flexibility for you to return to Hong Kong to work without worrying about an Australian license. What's next after your internship is becoming a house medical officer for your postgraduate year 2. Then you'll be a resident medical officer, which is an accredited registrar, because you can't be accredited before you land onto a training program. So essentially, a period of buffering, because unlike Hong Kong, where almost everyone is automatically enrolled in their training program by default, getting into a training program in Australia is actually very competitive, particularly when you're considering something like cardiothoracic surgery. It can take somewhere around 4 to 8 years, and in some extreme cases for about 10 years before you can get into a program, and you may need an additional master's degree and publication or even a PhD to secure a place. And after you go through all this training, you'll become a fellow of the college of your specialty, when you'll do overseas work in your area. Preparation to or promotion to consultancy depends on your position, on the position vacancies, and you may have to take a PhD to up your competitiveness. And this is basically summarized by this diagram. Next slide, please. So, but apparently, of course, consultant and registrars may be a little bit too further ahead. So let's go back to internship. So hospital allocation for internship is based on a tiered system, but please be noted that it varies across different states, and you can see how different states prioritize international medical graduates into different categories. The higher the tier, the more likely you'll be allocated with your preferred hospital. As international medical graduates, we are automatically placed in tier 2, but again, this varies across different states. So a lot of international medical graduates also go through a different application pathway and will end up in a rural hospital. But of course, there can be exceptions with the right connection and preparation. Next slide, please. And just a slide on some of the really useful links that you can take a look into, which includes entry requirements, general information, and also different universities. Next slide, please. Just again to talk about the Q&A link on the Slido. So please feel free to add in stuff if you're confused about anything or if there's anything you want to be addressed. But first of all, we have some questions that we received. So the first question is, does applying later in the year affect my chances, since the application window is almost year round? And I think that would be directed to perhaps Alex or Starkey could take this question. So will applying later in the year affect their chances in terms of getting to the medical school?
I would say yes. Like there's like a specific instruction of international applicants when you apply to the school. About to like UON, there is like a instruction for closing date, and also like just for international, and closing date for local Australian, and also closing date for like rural area applicants. So for later application in the year, I do think it will affect your like chances to get in, because I heard like some of the students who applied around like November or like December, after they like Hong Kong school, like they maybe like finish or something like that. So when they apply in later the year, they will like get lesser chance to get in. Some of them they didn't get in, so they go into like some other programs, and then they do transfer in later on years. What my recommendation is, you still apply, but if you don't have your result, for example, if you like studying A levels or if you're studying IB, they have like different schedules or different everything, and they give a result like more later on in like like November or December, it's okay, you still apply. And then when they ask for those kind of like results and those kind of things, you just like, oh, my school haven't like given back my academic certificate or completion of like my school. So is it okay? I give it back to you later on. But still, I would say try to apply within the time limit, and it'll be way better, and you will have like a higher chance to get in. Here is like one of the link of our school is about the key dates in University of Newcastle. It mentioned all the stuff like when you need to like do registration, when you apply for the program, and when will it close for international, or if you're like studying in Australia, you're like Australian citizen, but you're like also like from Hong Kong and things. They also like mentioned this about that, and you can definitely take a look. And at the end, it will mention about interview invitations in November and December. So here's a useful link for you for your like from your end.
Yep. And so personally speaking, I don't think it actually affected me because I got my GCE A-level results around July and just applied it right after, and I got an offer like a month after, so like at the end of August. I think as long as you applied it before the deadline, so for Griffith it's 29th of July this year for the entry in 2023. As long as you applied before this deadline, I think you'll be fine. And most importantly, I don't think Griffith for the undergraduate entry, I don't think there is any interview needed. Yeah, so it's basically if you have a good score, it is a guaranteed entry to medical school. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the next question is directed to Michelle from UNSW. So what can I do to prepare for the online interview? And are there going to be any medical questions for the UNSW medicine interview?
Yep. So for our UNSW interview, I haven't heard of any medical questions in particular, but be prepared that you might be asked questions related to the medical systems. For example, your view on vaccinations or your views on access to medical care, depending on if there's like health inequity, that sort of thing that's related to ethics. But you won't be asked something that is necessary with like medical knowledge to comprehend or answers accurately. And because in the interest of time, we will have another workshop and webinar targeted on interviews and admission test in July, hosted by us again. So we will explain more at the time, but to answer the question, no, we won't have medical questions.
Yep, thank you very much. So the next question is targeted to Monash. So since most of the other universities offer a course that's 6 to 7 years long, is it manageable to study medicine in Monash University since you have to pack the course content into the 5 years?
I actually think it's okay because we have 2 years, and they actually are able to cover all the system in 2 years. And also, like compared with UNSW actually have an extra year for just research. So it's basically the same that we are actually packing like the content in 2 years. And I think in my university is that they don't want students just to focus on studying, and they are trying to like modify the exam process to make students feel much more easier to deal with all the content. So for now, they actually trim down the exam process into like just MCQs and no more short questions at all. So I think the school in this regard is very supportive, and they know that medical students are very stressful and probably have a huge content load. So so I think it's somewhat manageable if you're just studying within 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And the last question is targeted towards University of Adelaide. So it's a really nice anecdotal sharing, but sorry for the personal question, but if not just for helping people, what is your reason for choosing medicine? And I think it's referring to the interview process.
Actually, this is really good questions, like because you guys have to face interview after all, no matter which med school you are going to apply, and this kind of questions you will be you have to handle these questions anyway. And my answer probably was not I would say not so alike to you, like if you are a secondary student or other background, because like I have been working for like as a nurse for a couple of years already, so I just really have better understanding to be the role and responsibility as a nurse or as a doctor. So at that time, I told the interviewer that like I can see that no matter how good or how knowledgeable or how competent to be a nurse, you will have kind of ceiling, because like this kind of ceiling, because it is not about the competency for a nurse, is actually the system. Because as I said, you are part of the multidisciplinary team, so you have your own role and responsibility. And so sometimes even you have that kind of knowledge, but you are not in that positions to make particular decisions or interventions. And you, for example, as a nurse, you have to take care of patients, which is like a really hands-on take care. For example, you have to have the patients to do the bathing, trying to change their napkin, and also you have to try to administer the drugs as doctor ordered. So, but for the doctor, as a doctor, you have to try to make the diagnose. You have to prescribe the correct medicines, and also do physical exams. So this they are totally two different roles. And after years of practice, I can see that I am more fond of doing the latter one, to be a doctor, to try to make a diagnosis, to try to treat my patients. But actually, I'm not saying I don't like nursing. I don't like being a nurse. I love it, because right now I'm still a registered nurse in Australia. I got my license. And I would say that because you, even as a nurse, you have like better patient's time. Because you can speak with your patient, you can have more time to be with your patients. But as a doctor, you are quite busy. You don't have time to speak with your patients. Even in Australia, you just have probably 15 minutes standard consultations, or even a long consultation, you've got 30 minutes. But as a nurse, you have 8 hours of contact time. So this is completely different frames. So so this is more than helping people. Actually, to echo my answers, if you just try to think, I just like to help people, but actually you have to know about what kind of professions, their role and responsibility. So other than nurse, you can think about, how about physiotherapists? How about speech therapists? Other professions. Why you don't like their or what you think that like really being a doctor can like particular job or particular environment you like. So there is no, actually you have to remember there is no correct or wrong for your reflections or your answer. So, but you have to demonstrate how deeply you know about other specialties and how deeply you know about yourself actually. So anything to add, Kevin?
Not too much, but avoid saying things like, sounds like you want to demean other occupations, okay? Like, I love to study medicine because doctors are the most superior. Right? The core values here are very important for every occupation, okay? We have equal roles. Every role is important. say something like, because I think I have the capabilities and ready to take the challenge. 5 or 6 year program plus 1 or 2 year of internship is no easy task, but I'm equipped with the capabilities to do so. Something like this.
Actually, please be remember, one of the really core values of multidiscipline team is actually you have to respect each other professions. So you have to appreciate them, their efforts, and appreciate other professions. Please bear in mind this thing. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much for your sharing. I think that's all the questions we have. And also just just now what Noel and Kevin said is a bit unfamiliar to you. There will be a interview workshop a few weeks after that sort of tackles all these stuff, and also will provide you with an opportunity to sort of have a test and try what it's about, in the actual interview environment. And the information are on the slide at the moment. And the link will be sent out as well. But yes, feel free to see if you're interested and join us. And for the to wrap this event up, I would like to invite everyone to take a group photo together and also fill in a feedback form by scanning the QR code. And so if you are ready, can you please turn your cameras on and let's take a group photo together. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us for the event, and I'll see some of you later. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all our speakers as well. Thank you so much for your time today, and have a nice holiday if you're in a break.
You guys.
Thank you.
See you.
See you guys.
See ya.
Chào all day.